in not so many words said you like the fact that the elections were conducted peacefully. Now, let's just assume that the amount of security operatives that were there were not there. What do you think would have happened?
I think the election would have gone on just fine.
True.
I mean, you're talking about a state where 80% of the people are in support of one candidate. Where would there be anything other than peaceful election and conduct? That's my opinion.
The votes didn't say that. You're very confident. 80%. If you put together all the other votes, over 200,000 for the PDP and all the other parties, put that all together, it doesn't give the APC candidate 80% of the votes.
I didn't say he got 80% of the votes. I said he has 80% support. Now, something might have happened on the other side.
Let's take a look at, what you talk about in terms of federal might. Isn't this just the APC feeling threatened? Because if you look at it, if you look at what happens at the elections, say at local government levels, you find out that what you get is that oftentimes the party in power at the state level takes almost all the seats, if not all, at that particular level. So aren't we just talking about the power of incumbency here and the APC feeling threatened because they do not have that at the center?
Justified. That is justified. Yes, it is true that most of the state governments, when they run local government council elections, they sweep it. That could be true. That could be out of the presumption that they are incumbents as well. But you see, that still boils down to my narrative that once you have an opposition party winning an election where federal government agencies are in control, then the perception is that something somewhere or someone somewhere has done something right.
Isn't that
so I'm not excusing what the state governments do. It's inexcusable as well.
Isn't that then credit to the federal government that they've done something right? In terms of trying to maintain free and fair elections where it would seem that people who are not members of their party or parties that are not, part of their own party are also taking the elections in those states.
There's a limit. I believe there's a limit to, okay, let me tell you this. 4, 5, 6 days before the Osun elections, I've been having a lot of phone calls from friends of mine who are sympathetic towards the APC, and they kept telling me, are you sure this is going to go right? Are you sure we can win this election? But when I landed in Osun, we did the procession walk for Benny, and I saw the feeling and the emotional camaraderie that is coming out from the people. And I returned some of their calls, and I told them, you know what? There's a limit to what anyone can do. This election cannot be rigged because these people are out there for this man. So even for a federal government, there's a limit to what you can do in terms of rigging without severe consequences. We don't pray for that, we don't hope for that. Now, everybody has been telling us to applaud INEC for doing exactly what it's supposed to do, albeit it needs some improvement. Okay, so fine, because we won elections, we should applaud them. Is there room for improvement? We want them to improve before 2015.
But that doesn't translate to an applause. You don't seem to see anything that INEC has done right.
No, but I didn't say they did anything wrong either.
In the Edo governorship elections, the same security situation played out, and then the governor thumbed up the agency saying, well done, they did well, the APC won there. And then you had it in Ondo State, same security played out. Then you had the same thing in Ekiti, the same thing played out. So it looks as though when parties are not exactly sure what the outcome of the elections will be, they seem to cry out, but eventually, when the results are out, they just wonder. Now, Moha also sends a comment in, says, Chief Bisi Akonde said just 2 hours into the voting that it was the worst election he has ever witnessed since 1996. And he thinks, or he asks, wasn't that false alarm? What could his intention have been at the time?
I don't know, I'm not aware of Chief Bisi Akonde's comments, so I don't think I can properly say that. But it depends on where you go. You know, I mean, what you see depends on where you sit. So probably where he went to, if he did make that comment, probably where he went to, what he saw at the time he made that comment, could have justified that.
Okay, tell us then about this, because what we see play out in different states, depending on which party is the ruling party there, especially when it has to do with their local government elections. The state independent electoral commissions, when they conduct elections, the ruling party wins all the seats. And this is across board for both parties. So, aren't they the same thing here?
That didn't happen in Nasarawa State. In Nasarawa State, the PDP won some local government councils.
But we'll see it happen in many other
It was the APC governor. I mean, people keep referring to my state of Kano as well. The last elections we had where we won all the 44 local government councils and 484 councillors. I mean, I was in Kano, I participated in that election vociferously, and I know for a fact that I didn't even know, in my local government, for example, I didn't even know who the other candidates were. I mean, there was only one candidate that kept printing posters. So, usually in state elections, I'm not here to defend what happens by what the state INEC, state independent electoral commissions do. I have my problems with them. I have my observations. I think they are too much under the governors. I think they are not as independent as they should be. I think they are highly influenced. That is all true. But in some cases, the opposition as well retreats out of fear that no matter what they do, they can't win because they don't have a governor. I think there's always that problem. It's a bit different when it comes to federal elections in terms of gubernatorial or any elections that the federal government agency is involved, because there's a lot of media attention on it and there's a lot of scrutiny on it. In most states where it is remotely, it is not really out there until the results come out, the CX just do the bidding of the state governors. That is inexcusable as well. But I have had experience in Kano, for example, where I don't know what happened to the PDP. They were completely obliterated. And I know for a fact that the APC won that election fair and square. There's no question about that. And I've seen Nasarawa State where PDP won some local governments. Yeah, there are some other states where it's sweep galore. That could be improved as well. And I think there should be some certain inputs into the law to make sure that they become a bit more independent than they are currently.